Hey guys, John V here from Phone Arena. Right now you're watching our video review of the Nokia Lumia 2520 tablet. This is the first time that Nokia is meddling around in the mobile computing space. That's just because a few years back they did come out with a Windows-powered netbook. Unfortunately though, it was a pretty bad offering. Knowing all of that, Nokia is really hoping to redeem itself with the Lumia 2520. It's Windows RT 8.1 tablet. It's stuffed with some beefy hardware specs combined with the latest software experience. So it might be a good option for you this upcoming holiday season. Considering that this is the first time that Nokia is getting into the Windows RT business, we gotta admit they did a pretty good job with the design of the Lumia 2520 as it employs many of the distinct characteristics of the Lumia line. One of the first things that really captures our attention is just how thin the tablet is. Now, on paper, it's not as thin as the iPad Air, but it's actually the same thickness as the Surface 2. But you wouldn't really think that just because it looks thinner than what it really is. That's due to the taper design that it offers. From the sides here, it looks very thin, but it gets slightly thicker towards the middle side here. It has some rounded corners to give it a really good grip in the hand. With our review unit, we have the red version. Just like the white one, it has a glossy finish, so it has a slick feel in the hand, but more importantly, it's just a magnet for fingerprints and smudges, so it gets dirty very quickly, whereas with the black and cyan versions of the tablet, they're actually using a matte finish, so they're more clean looking. Now, it utilizes the same polycarbonate plastic as some of the Lumia smartphones, and with that, it contributes in giving the tablet a pretty good weight in the hand, and on top of that, its construction is fairly sturdy. Overall, the Lumia 2520 has a very attractive design, very distinctive. It doesn't look like your typical slate, which is great, and the fact that it's available in the wide array colors, we're really happy that there are at least some color options available. It features a 10.1-inch 1080p IPS LCD display, so that's 1920 by 1080 pixels, giving it a pixel density count of 218 pixels per inch. So with the 1080p display in tow, we naturally get some really crisp looking details. We don't have any issues making out even minuscule text in the web browser. Everything just has a nice, crisp, clean look to it. Besides its crisp details, there are several other attractive things about the display too. First, you have the color reproduction, very vibrant in tone. It tends to be a little bit on the warmer side. Viewing angles are okay. It has a strong brightness output, so outdoor visibility isn't much of a problem. The one thing that we notice is that there's a little bit of bleeding around the edges of the display, and it's only noticeable when we have like a black background. And just like its polycarbonate plastic casing, the display is very prone to fingerprints and smudges, so it gets dirty very quickly, and we're constantly finding ourselves having to clean it with a cloth constantly. It doesn't seem as though there are any anti-fingerprint properties with the display. Beneath the screen is a capacitive start button, so when we press on it, it jumps us back to the start screen. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, we have a front-facing 2-megapixel camera that's enabled for HD video recording. We have an LED light above to indicate that the camera is active, and we also have its light sensor. Well, it's really nice that the tablet is armed with a lot of useful ports. So on the right side, we have a micro HDMI out port for quick video out functionality, and we also have a micro USB 3.0 port as well. But the thing is, it's not included with the packaging. The volume controls and dedicated power button are placed on the top right corner of the tablet. Now, they're a little bit flat to the touch, and the response is a little bit subdued. The left edge is home to two things. Now, they look like 3.5mm headset jacks, but it's actually on the top left-hand corner. On the bottom left, we have its proprietary charging port. And finally, along the bottom edge, we have the dock connection port, which is used in conjunction with the optional keyboard attachments that Nokia offers for the tablet. In the rear, it's packing along a 6.7 megapixel autofocus camera, which features a Zeiss lens, an aperture of f1.9, 1080p video recording. You have the microphone nearby too, and there's also a sticker for the NFC to indicate its positioning. So we have the Verizon version of the tablet, which features 4G LTE connectivity, so it has a SIM slot. In order to access it, we gotta use the included SIM removal tool to get to it. But at the same time, it also houses its micro SD card slot. It just would have been nice if the two were separated. Just like the Surface 2, the Lumia 2520 is running the Windows RT 8.1 experience, the most up-to-date version of the platform. I'm not going to go into all the details surrounding what's new and what we like about it, just because it's the same thing that we saw already with the Surface 2, but there's one thing that I want to point out that really enhances the experience here. Actually, it's related to the preloaded apps with the 2520. So just like the Surface 2, it's a great productivity tablet just because you have the whole suite of office applications right from the get-go. Actually, it's just the set of Nokia branded applications that are preloaded that really extend the software experience here over the Surface 2. So for example, you have the Nokia camera application, which is an alternative to the stock one. You have Nokia Video Director, which is a great video editing software tool you could use on the go. You have also the Nokia Storyteller, which utilizes all that content that you captured with your camera and presents it to us in a really nice manner. And finally, you have also Nokia Music. Just like on smartphones, you'll have a streaming service and just an alternative to the standard Windows music player. Just like the Lumia 1520, the 2520 here is armed with the latest chipset from Qualcomm, so it's a pretty spectacular offering. It's a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 CPU coupled with 2 GB of RAM and the Adreno 330 GPU. And what that translates to is a pretty good overall performance. We rarely saw it lag or stutter with its operations, whether it be basic and even more processor-intensive stuff. It even handles multitasking quite well, so we're pleased with its speedy performance. Out of all the keyboard options, we prefer using the landscape one just because it mimics the experience we get out of a normal keyboard. It's very spacious with its layout, responsive, and has a good autocorrect feature as well. In addition, if you're going to use the portrait one, we recommend using the split style just because there's less stretching with our thumbs. And as an alternative, you always have that handwriting recognition one. Not surprisingly, we get a top-notch web browsing experience thanks to Internet Explorer. Now, it packs 4G LTE connectivity, so it loads up complex pages with no issues at all. And performance, it's very consistent. You get some instant page rendering, you get some smooth navigational controls, so all the elements that we like about it. The only time we do notice a little bit of stutter is if we have several open windows at the same time. With this, we have two options out of the box when it comes to playing music. We could either go with the Nokia Music application or just stick with the usual Windows one. Both have really nice presentations and good functionality. As far as the audio quality with its two speakers, which are actually positioned towards the bottom edge, we gotta say that they're really strong and powerful, very commanding, and they don't crackle or strain at the loudest volume setting. As we said, the Lumia 2520 is a great consumption device, especially for watching high-definition videos. Out of the box, it supports a wide array of video codecs, and as you can tell, it plays high-definition ones very smoothly. There's nothing different with the standard camera application with the Lumia 2520. It's the same thing you find on any other Windows RT tablet out there, so it's very light with shooting modes and manual controls. However, you'd think that the Nokia camera app would have a deeper feature set, but sadly it's not the case. Still also very basic. The only different thing about this one versus the standard Windows camera app is that you have touch focus. Even though the two camera apps on board with the Lumia 2520 don't have any cool features or manual controls, you'll be pleased with what the Gallery app has to offer. So for example, you could do some light editing if you want to, you could crop, you could edit, you could rotate. In addition to that, you could adjust things like the lighting, the color, and you could even add some useful effects. Its 6.7 megapixel autofocus camera does a decent job of snapping photos. As long as there's a good amount of lighting present, details are average looking, colors can sometimes appear a little bit on the saturated side, but it really excels the most when it comes to macro shots just because you get that cool blurring effect with a lot of emphasis with the subject. Under lower lighting conditions, we see a dip with its quality, obviously. Now, its exposure is longer, so sometimes if you move around, you'll see just some blurring going on, so you gotta hold it very still. But the nice thing about that is with the longer exposure, it's able to actually brighten the shot up a lot better. But the details are flatter, you can see it's softer in tone, and there's just a profound amount of noise within all the shots. Just like its still image quality, its 1080p video recording quality is very tolerable. There's a lot to like with the visuals, good details, color reproduction seems to be natural and neutral. The exposure is gradual, so you don't see too much of a jerkiness with that. And its continuous autofocus works rather well. It's quick to actually adjust on the fly, and audio recording is mostly clear. So we use the Lumia 2520 strictly with 4G LTE connectivity, so its 8000 milliamp hour battery is able to provide us with a solid day of heavy usage, which is pretty much the average you would find nowadays with most tablets. There really is something to be said about the Lumia 2520. It's a great first offering from Nokia, and it's wonderful that they're in the tablet space. At the same time, we've seen that it's a very well-rounded performer that's combined with some really nice hardware specs to make it a great candidate against some of its rivals. For those curious about pricing, you can pick up the Lumia 2520 outright for $500, and that comes with 32 gigabytes of storage, so it has that golden price point, easily competes with some of its close competition like the iPad Air and even the Surface 2. If you're going to go with a contract, AT&T and Verizon will be selling the tablet for $400 with a 2-year contract. In the back of our minds, it would have been neat if the Lumia 2520 offered the full Windows 8.1 experience, but it is what it is, and at $500, it's a pretty good offering. It has a very distinctive design that stands out for its flashy colors, and as you're seeing, the performance is very well rounded. It's just a matter if you want to stick with the Windows RT experience or not. So if you guys want to learn more about the Nokia Lumia 2520 tablet, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.